Hi, I'm Ange Anderson. Just cleaning my glasses, I'm afraid. A bit misty. Hang on. It's better, I think. So it looks a bit strange there, doesn't it? But it looks really strange there. It looks like my eyes closed there. I think it's the light on it. Because I can show you they're not. But there we go. Sorry about that. So I'm Ange Anderson, advisor in therapeutic and technological interventions. And today I want to introduce you to something really special. The newly adapted VIP skills profile. Hang on a sec while I pick it up. Oh, I was using it, so hang on just a sec. Oh, need to balance. Let's balance. Let's find out where we are. There we go. Okay, there we go. I wonder if you can see that very well. Got it in a Polly Pocket, as it were. There we go. So today I wanted to introduce you to something really special, the newly adapted VIP skills profile, a therapeutic play-based resource that will help you really tune in to neurodivergent children through joyful, low-pressured play. This tool is based on the Venture into Play framework originally developed by Caroline Smith back in 2003. A brilliant approach that saw the value of creating dedicated safe spaces for play observation. But in today's classrooms, we need tools that work flexibly, fit around busy timetables, and help staff really see what a child is trying to tell us, especially when they don't use words. So I've adapted the VIP profile for 2025, making it more accessible for early years staff, TAs, and therapists. It's designed for one-to-one or small group sessions with children who need something gentler, something therapeutic, something just for them. In this updated version, you will find clear guidance for setting up sessions, new links for schematic play, so you can reflect on the patterns a child may be exploring, space to record, sensory, emotional, and play-based observations over time, and everything written in a tone that's supportive, not clinical. It's not about ticking boxes, it's about tuning in. Something called attunement. Just like we do in DIR floor time. We let the child lead and we join their words. Let me tell you a quick story. I once worked with a child who had severe scoliosis and tuberous sclerosis. She couldn't speak and she spent a lot of time withdrawn. One night, you know what it's like, teachers. I couldn't sleep for thinking about her. How could I get through? How could I help her to communicate in whichever way she chose? The next morning, I got into school early. I was the deputy head and I was able to let myself in. I filled our sensory room with every kind of ball, physio balls, small balls, for balls, every kind of ball that I could find, and I filled the sensory room with them. And when she arrived in school a bit later on, I invited her in to play. Now, I knew she liked balls. I'd noticed that, hence the reason for doing it. It's not for everybody, but it was for her. She stretched out her arm, one that she usually held tight to her body, and she began to carefully gather in the balls. And then she vocalized, not in frustration, in sheer joy. I will never forget that moment. That's what therapeutic play can do. That's what this profile helps us to recognize and celebrate when we use the venture into play profile. The VIP skills profile is simple to use. You can use it during short one-to-one play sessions with a child. You don't need expensive resources, just a safe space, a curious mindset, and a few open-ended toys. What I did in my last school is that I had a small room that was supposedly, I never used it for this. It was a brand new school, supposedly for a behaviour room where children could go to calm down. I have to say, I changed all those supposedly behaviour rooms into therapy rooms, therapeutic rooms, where people could go and receive a therapy to help them to calm down. Now, venture into play is one of those therapy approaches where a child who is very stressed, certainly it worked with one of our girls who was very stressed coming into school first thing in the morning, bless her, and she couldn't cope with everybody else being in the class and register taking and all the rest of it. So she would go to the VIP play room with the therapist first thing, and she would, what she had to think about is she loved It's a Small World toys, so she loved acting out things with these small world toys. And so she would go into there, she would spend 10-15 minutes in there, and she would calm, and then she would go back to class where everybody was getting on with their lessons, and she never wound anybody up, bothered anybody. None of what she could have done would have been intentional. It was just that she couldn't cope with that early morning registration aspect. So she was allowed to go and play and gather herself together and go back into class in a calm mood and go about whatever she was working on or doing in class. And that was fine with her, as long as she had this venture into play session, first of all. And going back to Lydia, the girl who liked balls, after having the play session in the sensory room with all of the different balls, she went out down to the shops, and in her wheelchair, she was wheelchair bound. She was in the wheelchair in the sensory room. She was out on the floor, obviously, hoisted out. But anyway, walking down to the shop, she just vocalized all the way there and all the way back, and she laughed and giggled, and people turned to look at her and smile at her because she was obviously so happy. So anyway, let's go back to where we were. So if you're working with neurodivergent children, you can download the full adapted version of the VIP skills profile for free on my website. The link's in the description below. The link to my website is always on YouTube anyway. It's not affiliated with the original book, but it's inspired by it. And it's been such a joy to make it more usable than ever. If you're working with neurodivergent children or any child who needs a space to be seen, this tool could really help you reconnect with the power of play. and I'd love to hear how you get on with it. So do leave a comment, subscribe if this kind of content supports your work, and feel free to share the link with colleagues. I will be putting more free things or links to free things that will be on my website regularly here on Facebook when I get the chance. I have been so busy working and writing that I'm afraid I'm not as good as some of these other people are who are on YouTube all the time. I don't know how they do it, and I'm full of admiration for them. But anyway, thanks for watching. Happy learning.